Meet the player that I truly believe is the missing piece for the Milwaukee Bucks. The player that can take them from a fringe 8th seed to the biggest superpower in the Eastern Conference. And when I say this, I mean over the Cleveland Cavaliers and yes, even the Boston Celtics. He was the former number 2 pick in the loaded 2014 NBA draft. And at some point, many were considering taking him over Andrew Wiggins. His name is Jabari Parker. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another video. I received a request in the comment section of my Andrew Wiggins video to make a video on Jabari Parker. And now that he is free and set to play, it's time that we discuss one thing: how Jabari Parker can literally elevate the Milwaukee Bucks from a fringe playoff team to a superpower in the East. Before we get this video started, man, if you guys enjoy basketball content, be sure to subscribe and drop a like. I shout out people that turn on my notifications every single day on my Instagram account. So if you're interested in free shoutouts, I'm gonna leave a link to my Instagram in the description down below. And without further ado, let's get this video started. Jabari Parker was always a special player, and he realized this early on as he was the first freshman in Simeon High School history to start on his varsity team. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking. Yo, a lot of these players end up starting on their varsity team in their freshman seasons. But you have to consider how Simeon High School isn't just any high school. Simeon High School was a breeding ground for some incredible NBA talent. Players like Nick Anderson, Derrick Rose, and the late Benji Wilson. This was a big deal. In his freshman year, Jabari would average 19.3 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, which led to ESPN naming him High School Freshman of the Year. And by the end of his senior year, many scouts had Jabari Parker ranked as the top recruit in the nation. Yes, even over Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, and even the Harrison twins. A foot injury would see Jabari Parker dropping from the number 1 recruit in the nation to number 2. But that foot injury didn't stop Jabari Parker, as he would average 18.4 points, 10 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game to go along with 2 blocks and 2 steals per game. Jabari was so good that Sports Illustrated named him, and stop me if you've ever heard this before, the best player since LeBron James to come out of high school. Okay, maybe we hear that a lot. Jabari would go on to commit to Duke University, who was just coming off of an Elite 8 blowout to Rick Pitino's Louisville Cardinals. The only star player that was returning was Quinn Cook. So Jabari took full advantage of the fact that he was the face of the Duke Blue Devils that year. He averaged 19.1 points per game, 8.7 rebounds per game, which was good enough to lead the ACC, had a 32.7 usage percentage, and a 28.4 player efficiency rating, which is good enough for second in the ACC. Unfortunately, Jabari Parker's Blue Devils would get knocked out of the NCAA tournament in the first round by the 14th ranked Mercer. But everybody knew at this point what Jabari Parker brought to the table. There has never been a player as fundamentally sound as a scorer like Jabari Parker since Carmelo Anthony came out of the draft. But in addition to a great ability to score, Jabari had a killer work ethic and unrivaled athleticism. I said in one of my previous videos that a friend once told me that Jabari Parker will become the Tim Duncan of the small forward position, because he was literally all about fundamentals. Scouts all unanimously agreed that while Andrew Wiggins possessed the greatest upside and Joel Embiid was the biggest risk, Jabari Parker was by far the safest pick, who would most probably have the greatest career and win Rookie of the Year out of the trio. Parker would go on to get drafted number 2 overall by the Milwaukee Bucks, and upon being drafted said that he wanted to be a Milwaukee Buck for life and that he was a one-team person. He immediately showed the tremendous skill set that got him drafted so high. Earning Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month for the month of November, Parker would average 12.3 points and 5.5 rebounds in 29 minutes per game during his rookie year before going down with his first ACL tear. This injury would extend to his sophomore season, and Jabari Parker would go on to average similar numbers for that year. It wasn't until last year that we didn't see the tremendous upside that Jabari possessed. Parker dazzled us not only with his incredibly fundamental skill set, but with his athleticism as well. Something none of us would have ever expected from a player with a foot injury and more recently an ACL tear. We've seen what ACL tears have done to many of our favorite players, like Derrick Rose for example. He was never the same after his ACL tear, and he was a former MVP. But Jabari Parker would come back and average 20 points and 6.2 rebounds per game. He improved his 3-point percentage to 37% from a 26% the year prior. If Jabari Parker can pick up where he left off, then the Milwaukee Bucks will have Eric Bledsoe, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Jabari Parker all in one lineup for the first time, with incredible pieces like defending Rookie of the Year Malcolm Brogdon and future matchup nightmare Thon Maker. If you take all of these players into consideration, the Milwaukee Bucks are absolutely terrifying. Jabari Parker is returning to a team that is undefeated since Jason Kidd was fired, that boasts the league's second most efficient player in Giannis Antetokounmpo. Chris Middleton is incredibly underrated as a player, and this team is finally ready to compete. If the Bucks can figure it out within the next couple of months, I will not be surprised if they make a deep playoff run as soon as this year and become an NBA championship contender perennially from here on out. But all of this is contingent on one person, Jabari Parker. If Jabari comes back as strong as he did last year, then this whole plan can come to fruition. If not, Parker can find himself on a new team this offseason, as he is set to enter free agency. And if Parker does not prove himself quick, then I can see the Bucks not offering him a new deal. So now, Mike Mafia, I leave you guys with two questions. 1, will Jabari Parker live up to his potential? And 2, will this be the first year the Milwaukee Bucks win a playoff series since 2001?